So sometimes when we're factoring, you just don't know how to find what we're looking for. And I'll be quite honest with you, I haven't been really through all of this with you. What we're ending up doing, I know some of what we're doing is we're finding equations where it literally might look like this. Correct? So what you will do next year is turn these both into equations set equal to 0, and then you're going to solve for x. So subtract 4, so x would equal -4, add 3, and x equals 3. So what these represent are where your graph crosses the x-axis. So if this was graphed, let's say here's -4 and here's +3. This graph would look something like this. So it's going to cross the x-axis at 2 points. And those 2 points are these values here. So those are called solutions. So anytime you're factoring, you are just finding these things, and then you're going to end up setting them to 0. So when we use what's called the quadratic formula, we are finding those solutions. And I'm more concerned that you know how to substitute this stuff in. Just give it a whirl. You can use this any time. As you can see, you would rather not. But you can use this if you can find a GCF. If you can't find a GCF, you can always use this to find those solutions. All right. Looking for my glasses. You would think I would know this by now, right? Okay. Can you still do this number? Yes. But we're going to move on. We're going to substitute these values. First of all, you need to be in this format in order to do so. So A is a 1, my B is a -2, and my C is -35. So let's go ahead and write that. So my A here is a 1, the coefficient. My B here is -2, and then my C is a -35. So I'm just following this x squared, my A, my x is my B, my constant is my C. You will find that's still your y-intercept, by the way, but let's keep going. So all I'm going to do is substitute those values into that long formula. So x is equal to -b, so a negative, I'm going to write it out so you can see it. That'll end up being a positive. This is a positive and negative. The square root, so I'm going to take my b squared. Anytime you substitute it in, put it in parentheses so it knows to take the negative with it. -4 times my A times my C. Okay, you have to solve that first. Then divide that whole thing by 2 times my A. So I always recommend doing what's inside here first. Well, let's kind of simplify this. So let's go x equals 2 plus or minus, and then before you square root this, I want you to solve that. So parentheses, -2 parentheses, squared, -4 times 1 times a -35. And I get 144. Okay, we can handle that, right? All divided by 2. So I just kind of simplified it. Now we know that square root of 144 is 12. So here's my two options. We have x is equal to 2 plus 12 divided by 2. And I'm going to put this in parentheses because I need to solve that. That's one of them. And then x is equal to 2 minus 12. That's what that means by plus or minus. You have two equations divided by 2. So this one's 14 divided by 2 is 7. So that's one answer. This is negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So those are my two solutions. That's it. You will not always have two solutions. So let's keep going. Let's try this one. I know I feel like I'm running out of room. I wrote really big. So A is 5, B is negative 8, and C is negative 4. I'll write smaller. I think I'm going to use a different color so you can see the difference here. So x equals a negative b. So that's going to make him a negative b. Negative 8 is a positive 8. So I'm doing some shortcuts. Plus or minus square root b squared. So negative 8 squared minus 4 times my a times my c divided by 2 times my a. Okay, let's simplify the square root guy. Negative 8 squared, important it's in parentheses, minus 4 times 5 times a negative 4. Gives me 144 again. So x is equal to 8 plus or minus the square root of 144 divided by 2. I'm sorry, divided by 10. Okay, so x is equal to 8 plus 12 divided by 10, and x is equal to 8 minus 12 divided by 10. So that's 20 divided by 10 equals 2. What is that? Negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 10. I guess I could get a decimal. Negative 4 divided by 10 is negative 0.4. And so you can have a decimal answer. Okay. Next one. This has to be in that A, B, C order. I need to send this, I need to rewrite it and send this 12 over to this side. So it's on, they're all together, and you can never have a negative leading coefficient. My A is 2, B is negative 9, C is positive 12. Let's try it again. Different color. So I have x equals negative b, so 9, negative, plus or minus the square root of b, which is negative 9, minus 4 times 2 times 12, divided by 2 times 2. Okay. Again, let's punch that part in the calculator. Just going to change this up a little bit. That's a 2, and that's 12. X is equal to 9 plus or minus the square root of negative 15 divided by 4. So you cannot take the square root of a negative 15. It is impossible. Therefore, this is called a no solution. So second square root, negative 15, domain error. So there you go. Sometimes you'll only end up with one answer, by the way. So don't be surprised if you see that. All right, and even if you're missing like the C, you would put nothing in the equation. Or if you're missing the B, it wouldn't work at all. But if you're missing some parts, it's still okay. All right, telling you guys are basically done. So I'm going to give you this assignment and then almost like a another TIS, just to make sure I think you understand it. And I'm going to call it done for you guys. You have amazed me. I cannot get over on how independent you are. Please remember, next year is going to be extremely hard. You're going to go back to something. I felt like this year was kind of easy. But next year it's going to be very vigorous, rigorous, and a lot of things. I'm not for sure about their grading situation. Your assignments were not graded. Who you were, you guys just did your assignments with your quizzes and tests. So next year that might change. So be really good about taking notes, asking questions, and getting extra help. It's going to be a struggle. I'm going to miss you guys. Thanks, you all.